If you are feeling stressed out right now, you are not alone. Stress is a normal part of life to some extent, but too much stress can quickly become very toxic to our bodies and our minds. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some tips that I've gathered from the world of psychology to help you tackle your stress. But first, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Dr. Sherry. I have a PhD in experimental psychology, and here at my Fun Psychology channel, we talk about all sorts of different psychology-related topics, from personality psychology to relationships to self-improvement to well-being and so on and so forth. If that sounds like your kind of thing, then welcome to my channel. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the tips. So my first tip from psychology for you is to try to stay ahead of whatever it is that is stressing you out. This means that you have to know to some extent what is the cause of your stress. Is it that your boss is breathing down your neck? Is it that your husband just isn't listening? Are your kids driving you nuts? Are your in-laws coming to town? What is it exactly? You have to be able to pinpoint that. Then you have to try to make a plan to deal with the problem ahead of time, so before it just sneaks up on you. Now, I hope you can relate to this idea of being a college student and procrastinating something until the night before. Maybe it's a horrible essay you have to write, maybe it's studying for a test, but you procrastinate it, you put it off and off. And now suddenly you have this huge stressor that was completely avoidable, may I add, and now it's become this huge problem, all because you didn't plan ahead. So strategize ways to deal with the problem before it becomes a huge deal. Write it out if you have to. Put it in your planner. Make a schedule. Do what you need to do. But the more you can stay ahead of the potential stressor before it hits, the better able you're going to be able to manage your stress and cope with it. This also means focusing on the things that you have control over. A lot of the things that stress us out in life are external things that we really can't control all that much. For example, we really can't control what other people do. If our boss decides one day that, hey, the company doesn't have money to keep you hired anymore, and they lay you off, that's something that is out of your control. Something that's really been stressing me out recently is the rising prices that we've been seeing at the grocery store. Obviously, I don't control the prices, but something that I can do is I can learn how to meal plan, I can learn to cook at home, I can learn to budget my finances better, and this is a way for me to try to take this externalized problem and bring it down to a more internalized level to where I am controlling the aspects that I can deal with. So this externalized problem is still out there, right? Prices are still on the rise, but I'm finding ways to mitigate that stress and cope with it in a healthy way. My second major tip for you is to find ways to work on your health. You will be shocked at just how linked your physical health is to your mental health. And this includes your ability to mitigate and cope with stress. So when we're eating really bad food all the time, processed food, junk food, sugar, etc., and we're not really moving our bodies, so we're not exercising on top of that, we're not getting enough vitamin D, we're not going outside. If you're just sitting at home all day mindlessly watching TV, not really doing anything of purpose or of worth, then it's no wonder that you feel bad, right? It affects our psychology when we don't take care of our bodies. Oftentimes, we don't realize just how much these two things are linked until we start making lifestyle changes. And then, once we've improved our health leaps and bounds, that's when we realize, oh hey, I'm so much more clear-headed, I'm dealing with stress so much better. Everything becomes easier for your mental health when your body is working right. Studies have linked eating high amounts of very processed food as well as high amounts of sugar with all sorts of mental health issues, including things like anxiety. So if you get your diet right, that will help you cope with stress better. In terms of exercise, there is so much research out there, really exciting research, that shows the effects of exercise on our brain when it comes to things like our mental health. I bet you didn't know that exercise is sometimes used as a treatment for things like depression. This is used in clinical settings to improve people's mental health. Research also finds that people who are highly physically fit tend to get stressed less easily, and they also recover from stress faster compared to people who are less physically fit. So just getting your body into a state where it's moving like it's supposed to on a regular basis can help you cope with stress. My third tip here is to make sure that you are staying connected with other people. Now I get it, some of us are introverts, myself included, but I don't care how introverted you say you are, we all need people to some extent. We're all human beings after all, and humans are intrinsically social creatures. We all need people in our lives that we can trust and depend on and that care about us. Social isolation is connected to worse mental health. This is just a fact when it comes to the psychology literature. When we retreat into our own little social bubbles, our own little worlds for too long, mental health does deteriorate. Having strong social bonds can help you get through the hard times. It helps us stay happy. It helps us build resiliency. It gives us purpose in life. And then when there is a stressor, we're going to be able to cope with it so much more easily. When you're dealing with not having enough socialization or people in your life, even just small issues, even just small stressors can become these monstrous, huge deals. And frankly, just having others in your life that you can depend on can really help to mitigate stress, because having a team of people behind you, right? Someone you can lean on, someone you can go to when you have issues, someone who can help give you advice, or even someone who can help you tackle whatever your problem is can make a world of difference. Whether it's family, friends, a larger community, whatever it might be, you have to make your social connections a priority. Last but not least, my fourth major tip for you is that you have to learn how to say no. And this is one that I've kind of struggled with over the years. I mean, after all, we live in a highly complex, busy, modern world where we're expected to juggle 101 things, and people are always asking us to do different things. And there's just no way that we can possibly do it all and maintain lower stress levels, right? And we don't want to let people down. If we say no to them, then we might feel like we're going to let someone down, we're going to disappoint them. But here's the thing. You are one person, just one person. You can only do so much and maintain your mental sanity. There's only so much that you should expect yourself to be able to do and still do it at a high quality. Take work, for example. Many of us have experienced the issue of our boss asking us to do too much. Maybe it's another task that they've given us. Maybe it's overtime that isn't really optional. They're just expecting us to do it. These things can quickly pile up and really exaggerate our stress levels. And with this increased expectation for our workload that we're not really used to and that really isn't very healthy, it can quickly become too much. Maybe your local community that you volunteer for has you doing all these different tasks, and hey, you're not busy, right? Here's one more. And you just keep saying yes, 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 because you're a people pleaser, you don't want to disappoint these people, and you really just end up with a whole bunch more stress. So my point here is you need to know what your limit is, and you need to start saying no before you hit that point. Most people are reasonable. If you say no to them and you have a good explanation and reason for why you can't do that thing right now, most people are going to understand. They're going to respect the fact that you said no. And frankly, if someone just doesn't care that you are getting to that point of being overwhelmed, or that you have other things going on right now that are simply more important, that person really does not deserve a yes from you. And if you find yourself having to say yes to a task because maybe it has to do with work, and it just isn't really an option for you to say no, it's perfectly okay to move your priorities around. Maybe there are other things that you volunteered for that you can say, you know what, something has come up at work, I have to move this task back on my list. I'm still going to try to do it, but I just can't do it right now. And generally speaking, people are going to be responsive to that. But you have to be able to prioritize if something really major comes up that you cannot say no to. So to manage your stress better, use your options and give yourself some grace if you need to. So that wraps up this video. I hope you found these tips helpful. Definitely let me know in the comments down below how you mitigate your stress. How do you like to cope with it? Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more psychology-related content from me. And if you're curious, go ahead and check out this other video that I recorded a while back about different exercises from positive psychology to help make your life just a little bit happier.